Here's where we finished the video off last week, and this week we're going to be adding all the finishing touches, including lighting. But first, we got to go over to the build studio so I can start working on the parking spaces that I'm going to be adding to the front of this. And I'm even going to be including some handicap spots because I feel that will help add another little level of detail to the entire build. When it comes to trying to size up the parking spaces, it was a whole bunch of trial and error. And what I finally ended up settling on was it's a total of 7 bricks between each layer of plates, because the plates are what are giving you the nice stripe in between the spots, and then the 7 brick is the width of the parking space itself. I also included 1 snot brick at the front of each one of those spots in order to put a bump stop or a tire block. And although I know it seems very counterproductive, yes, I did have to rip the entire building off. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing it back and forth to kind of adjust where the center entrance is going to be. Because with the entrance, what I decided to do is I was going to grass it out, put a small walkway coming up to the main entrance of the train station. And then I'm also going to put details like the flagpole and other plant life around it as well. While I had this apart and I was redoing the mills portion of it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to redo the foundation of the train station also, because I didn't really like it. It was mainly all brick with a few masonry brick, and I thought it could look a lot nicer if I did a little bit of greebling in it. And again, the greebling technique that I use for adding detail is simply using a combination of plates. It's 1x2s, 1x1, and 1x1 round plates, and it gives you a nice, interesting look. And then I also added vents to the foundation as well, because any building that doesn't have a basement, if it has a crawl space, you have ventilation ducts in that to prevent moisture from building up and causing rot. Now, while I'm doing all that, I wanted to take a minute and show you the flag that I decided to put out front. All this is a combination of bars and the lightsaber pieces to make up the flagpole. And then you'll see that I even used a bunch of 1x1 round and 1x2 round plates to make up the flag itself. And lastly, I want to point out the string that goes up the pole serves 2 purposes. 1, it's for aesthetics, and 2, it actually holds the pole back. And now we're going to get into the lighting. The lighting, I'm doing something very complicated. This is the tubing I sell on my website, and what I did is I actually notched holes all on the side of it because I'm physically going to be running all the wire for the lights that are underneath the canopy through that pole to give it a more natural effect, to get rid of all that wiring mess, and just to really give an all-around really great finished appearance to the landing platform itself. After I get all the wire in, what I'll do is I'll twist it together, put it on a plug it in, and you'll notice a little blip of light. That was me testing the circuit. These are the plates that I like to use. These are off-brand plates. These are made by Brickyard, and I know I've said this before, but I use these anywhere I'm going to be doing holes, drilling holes specifically, which is what you're going to watch me do right here. And what this hole is going to be used for is this is what's going to bring the main power up through the mills plate and into the building, because I'm going to use the inside of the building as my splice point for all my circuits. I will have a lot of wiring physically in the mills plate also, and we're going to get to that here in the next portion of the video, but this is what brings it up for the landing platforms and the building. Now that we've got that drilled, I can start finishing off all this mills plate work and start putting everything back together and getting everything plugged in. And to me, this is the most exciting portion of the build, is getting the lighting in. I love lighting. I'm an electrician by trade, so it's Tim Dallin and tool time for me, which is, you know, it's more power. That's all I can say. I absolutely love lighting. To me, it's what makes a build come alive, and I do all my lighting custom. For people that don't want to do custom lighting, though, I recommend using either Brick Loot or Blinky Bricks products. They make some amazing products, and they are specifically designed to be plug and play for anybody that wants to do it yourself on their own custom mocks and builds. Coming back to the build at hand, though, I want to show you that I ripped the top of the roof off, and I did that for one important reason. I don't know if you noticed it or not. I put in a 1x1 round plate when I pulled that off, and that is quite simply, because I'm doing it on the other side as well, it's to allow me to bring the wire up and through the wall. So that way all my plugs are, again, inside of the building. So anytime I got to work on anything, all I have to do is take the roof off, and I know each string of lights is plugged in inside of the building. A few other tips for lighting: if you use a white USB, it's a 2.0, you can put 50 LEDs on it. And if you use a blue USB, it is a 3.0, and you can have up to 100 LEDs on each one of those particular ports. Now, before I start adding all the plant life, I want to quickly show you some tips on what I do. For this little bush right here, you simply use the 1x1 modified brick with studs on all sides. You put the little sand green clips on all sides of it, and you have a bunch of beautiful little bushes that you can use for landscaping. For the tree design, you simply use this little leaf piece. You put a bunch of the small sprue parts inside of that leaf piece. I like to do at least 12 for each tree because it makes it look very full. But then we start with the trunk of the tree, and the trunk is quite simply the brown antenna part, brown 1x1 round plates with the hole in the center of it, telescopes, and then also the brown 3 sprue piece. And you just take the leaves that you just made, and each one of those will go on one end of the brown sprue. And the last plant detail is simply the 2x2 leaf with the plant stem. Now we can run back over to the build table and start tiling in and adding all the awesome detailed plant life that we just made. The first thing I'm doing is I'm changing the pitch of the stairs coming into the entrance, because I thought it would look a little better if it was just one plate high for each step. We placed the tree that we just made over there in the corner, along with a lot of those little sprue pieces down and around. We put a bunch of those little sand green bushes along the facade of the building as well. We have a pine tree over on the right-hand side, and we're even doing all the tile work for the decking. All in all, I'm very happy with how everything turned out. I can tell you I fixed the fence on the left side because it was bothering me also, like a few people had mentioned. I even added a bench and a vending machine on the front porch because I had a few people that recommended doing that as well. I still think I'm going to change the fence out once I get more pieces, because I want the little round globe piece on the top of each one of those posts, as I think it'll look more attractive, but for now I have to settle with it. Another thing I can tell you I changed is the chimney. I moved it over so it wasn't interfering with the door. And now with the lights on, man, I love lighting. I can't say it enough. To me, lighting is what makes any build just look perfect. Most of the lights I used on this are an off-white light. The flagpole lights are a bright white, and those were to illuminate the flag, because if you have a flag flying at night, it does have to be illuminated. And I wanted to make sure, like everything, I include all those realistic details. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one soon.